Through eyes misty with nostalgia, some people refer to the late 90s as a golden age for the 3D platformer. They remember games like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Klonoa, genre-defining classics that more than justified the golden age moniker. What they tend to forget is the staggering overabundance of clones and imitators, most of which weren't very good. There were a lot of A-list 3D platformers during the late 90s, but there were also quite a few B-listers, and there are even more on the D-list. It's hard to say exactly which group this one falls into, but I think it's safe to say Conker wouldn't be caught dead with Croc. This is Croc 2 for the original PlayStation, and this is the Kathy Griffin of three-dimensional platform games. Although it was actually developed by Argonaut Software, Croc 2 might as well have been made by a cookie cutter. The game recites Professors Mario and Banjo's concepts as thoroughly as a nervous student taking an exam, but there are a few things the game does right. The problem is, Croc 2 forgets to put its name on the paper. What I mean by that is, the game doesn't really have an identity of its own. There's some character here, at least in bits and pieces, and there are definitely some positives in Croc 2's design, but you almost forget what you're playing while you're playing. The unoriginality is a bit too strong to allow the pluses to negate the minuses. But for me, the biggest problem with Croc 2, even bigger than the recycled ideas and strong sense of déjà vu, is the camera. Hands down, no question, undoubtedly, the game's camera is the primary anchor weighing down Croc 2. In what we'll charitably refer to as a questionable design choice, the camera is automatic in Croc 2. At least, it's supposed to be, meaning there's no way to manipulate your view yourself. The camera pulls behind Croc on its own to face in the direction he's facing. And if the concept doesn't sound inconvenient enough already, it takes its good old time doing so. With a camera like that, simple actions like lining up a jump turn into struggles with a bad viewpoint. And for a game based entirely on running and jumping, that's a problem. And it's worth noting that manual camera manipulation wasn't some distant dream during this time. Lots of 3D platform games were already experimenting with giving players control over the camera. So for Croc 2 to do the opposite is just mystifying to me. Of course, the camera issue really isn't much of a surprise because this is the same camera from the original Croc. To the game's credit though, it did make some improvements on the original as well, particularly in terms of structure. Instead of being a linear experience like the first Croc, Croc 2 takes place in hub worlds. You don't have to complete their levels in any specific order. And along with its gameplay variety, that prevents Croc 2 from feeling too repetitive. Unfortunately though, it doesn't prevent Croc 2 from underwhelming. Even so, we have to send a huge thanks to Gunwild from New York. Gunwild is the tremendous and loyal Undertow who sent us this copy of Croc 2, and I gotta tell you, this was a great game to revisit after all these years. It's a nice reminder of how much the 3D platformer has evolved since its so-called golden age, so thanks a lot, Gunwild, truly appreciate it. We also have to send thanks out to Evolution, because if there's anything to learn from the cheap deaths, the atrocious camera, and the loose controls of Croc 2, it's that we should appreciate the little things in today's platformers. Like, being able to see what's in front of you.